Hey everybody, welcome back to Jeff Bowl Central. I thought I'd do a mental health discussion video for you. It's kind of past time. I haven't done one in about a month and a half because I've been too busy making music and playing video games and doing all sorts of other shenanigans. Hey, are you like me? Have you been labeled a nut job? Have you been labeled crazy, a loony, a frothing rabid monstrosity of mental dysfunction? I have, and let me tell you something about that. Okay, it tends to put a hamper on your life as you had planned it. A hamper, like with laundry, a damper, I think is what I meant to say. I think. I hope. A hamper might be nice to have there too, though, because you never really know when you need to change your shorts. And you know what else it does is it kind of labels you, or rather it allows others to label you and to kind of condemn you and to kind of choose who you are for themselves, because they certainly can't choose it for you. But word gets around, that kind of thing, and so you may develop a reputation as being a loony, a psycho. I'm only joking about all this to kind of soften what is otherwise actually a kind of a painful experience, and that is very simply being or possessing serious mental illness. Yes. So this is going to seem like a recap to those who have watched my mental health videos before, and indeed it is. I suffer from schizoaffective disorder, bipolar type, which is schizophrenia with kind of a bipolar. Basically, you have both at the same time. Is the clinical the clinical kind of diagnosis there? Because basically, what you have is schizophrenia, which is visual, auditory. Sometimes it engages your other senses, like your olfactory, your nose there. Sense derangement, or what they call hallucinations. Okay. Perceiving things that aren't there in any kind, straight up. And then there's also the delusions, which are the strange ways of thinking, the distorted views of reality, the things like vampire children are trying to assassinate me through my teeth. Okay, if you ever hear anybody saying something that out of bounds, odds are they could be psychotic. Maybe it's time to get them some help. Just friendly advice. And then I've also got the bipolar component, right? Which you kind of know what bipolar is. It's kind of extremes of moods. Yeah, and there's other things attached to that, like kind of a risk-taking behavior they describe it as, or even just kind of low depressions on the back end of that. So that's what I do. That's what I have. And again, to recap, I had a really bad episode of this, psychosis, back in 2016. And there was a lot of kerfuffle in my life, put mildly. I ended up in jail because I hurt my wife. It was an accident. Frankly, I was panicking because the hallucinations were telling me something about the situation that wasn't true. They were telling me, frankly, that she was going to try to kill me. If you've ever met my wife, Carrie, who's still my wife, who's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful human being, that you know that how insane anything like that would be. She'd never hurt a fly, okay? And so, but that's what my brain was telling me. So I was trying to get away from her, okay? And I can talk about it calmly now. It's kind of, believe it or not, water under the bridge, for me and her at least. And she was getting in the car to stop me because she was worried I'd be a danger on the road, as I probably would have been. And I hit reverse, and she went under the door of the car as I was hitting reverse. And I ended up, one of the wheels, or was it both of the wheels? Gosh, I'd have to ask her now. I can't even remember. But she ended up running over her. And I hurt her seriously, and I ended up in jail, and I ended up in mental hospital for a couple weeks. The long, strange road from there to here is laden with many sleepless nights and a lot of back and forth and a lot of regret and a lot of cry and shame. But here I am. Now, I have to deal with being a crazy person now. You may notice about me that I don't have any kind of rational handicaps. In other words, what I'm trying to say is I can think pretty clearly, and I can. I have some kind of rationality gaps here and there. I have some memory issues here or there. I also tend to just straight up think things that aren't true anymore, and I do still have hallucinations, you know. So I would say that the symptoms during the worst of the psychosis, if those would have been a level 10 for me, pretty extreme, pretty rude, yeah. Maybe they back down to about a 6 or a 5, which is enough for me to function. Not the 0 that I used to be before this whole thing occurred, but definitely lower. Okay, and I think that's kind of the takeaway of my situation so far, is that though these things can strike, they can certainly, for lack of a better word, F up your life real good. They are not permanent. At least not always. And we shouldn't reduce a person to, he's always going to be that way. He did this thing, and so he's always going to be that way. That's the crap of the situation, man. That's the thing that people can't let you get around or be anything else, you know. And, you know, to tell you the truth, I at this point, I am, upset over the things that I've lost, but I'm upset about the things that I feel like I could have had in the future, that I could have stood to gain. But if I think about where I'm at, and if I think about what I've learned, and if I think about the fact that I've gained some other things in the trade-off, I've gained, for instance, faith. I have an enormous amount of faith now that I just didn't have. And I am talking about spiritual faith, faith in the Creator. But I also have more faith. I have faith in life. You know, if I didn't have that kind of more spiritual side to myself that I didn't have before, I have faith in life. You know, just because I know now, no matter how far you sink, there are a multitude of avenues, most of which you will have no control over in any way, for rising back to a level that is actually very joyous at times. Okay, so there are other things wrong with me. For instance, I have mobility issues now due to some other physicality things, and I'm pretty well crippled here. Aside from like reaching out to people on the internet and being on YouTube and stuff, like I get to do that. See, that's the joy. I can do that still. I can still make stuff. I can still make music. I can still write. I can make YouTube videos here. I can't walk so much really anymore. I can't drive. I don't go out of the house a whole lot. My mental functioning limits me as far as, see, I can make stuff for this channel because there's no pressure. You see? Also, it's what I do. I'm creative, right? I'm an artist anyway by nature, so the making is easy, the creation is easy. But see, once someone puts a timetable on it and a paycheck, and responsibility and duty and tasking and keeping track of this thing and that, I'm just useless. I'm just totally useless. Whereas you guys, if I'm speaking to you sane people, wink. If I'm speaking to normal-ish, sane-ish people, you guys can do that stuff. Functionality. They call it. What do they call it? What do they call that? And like, I don't want to burst anybody's bubble out there, but these things, these kind of major life-altering things, they're in the offing for everybody at some point. Okay. Now, I don't care if you get to like the year 60 of your life and all of a sudden you have a major collapse and everything looks different and you've got to restructure and rejigger. That's a weird word, rejigger. That must be like a thing I got from my dad or something. Rejigger, refigure, reconfigure, yeah, okay. Even if you have to do that at the age of 60, you're still having to do it. So you can kind of expect stuff like this. There's no such thing as an easy portion of life. There are portions that are easy for different reasons. For instance, when you're young, you've got your health, you've got your strength, you got the vim and vigor, your piss and vinegar. But you don't have a whole lot of wisdom. You don't have any experience. No one will really take you seriously. It's not easy being young. It's not easy being old. It's not easy being. Yeah. I mean, if you had a choice between being and not being, knowing what you know, you'd probably choose being, just because not being is kind of frightening. But if you could be without the expectation and nonsense of being and just the good stuff, well, that would just be heaven, right? But that's not what we're looking at. And so I have it less fortunate than some of you. I have it more fortunate than others. What does that mean? I really don't have much to complain about in general, okay? Yeah, I can't walk so good. Yeah, I'm crazy as a $3 bill. You can expect struggle. You can expect pain. There are going to be times in your life where you lose everything and have to gain it again. There's going to be a death at the end of it. Spoilers. There's going to be some births, though, too. There's going to be wonderful things. There's going to be love. There's going to be joy. There's going to be happiness. There's going to be laughter and boring afternoons and standing in line at the Department of Motor Vehicles wishing you could literally slit anybody's wrists in that place. That would be more entertaining. Any old person, except for the person at the counter, because then you'd take a long time longer to get there. It's okay to lose. It's okay to be a loser sometimes. Because when you lose, you can win still. And when you lose, you don't always lose forever. And sometimes when you lose, it looks like loss, and it's actually a win. And sometimes when you win, you lose bad. All right, enough with the serious talk. You go have some fun, kids. Bring Dad some bacon. I meant advertising revenue. If you actually want to bring me bacon, my God. But you probably don't. But if you want, but you probably don't. But if you want to, like and subscribe. If that at all seems juicy, like bacon. See you later. Have a good one. Take care of yourself. Take care of everybody around you, man. Maybe we'll get through this. Hopefully we'll get through this. We will get through this. Bye, everybody. Till next time.
Sun